Hello everybody and welcome back to this week's new vlog. I am back with another series video of trying to finish every series that I'm in the middle of. I think this is episode 4 at the moment. I did take off another series because I decided I didn't want to continue with it, so now I'm at 26 series that I'm in the middle of. Currently I have 4 books that I could read. I just need to decide which of the ones that are on my physical TBR shelf I want to read. I will be starting with The Love Lyric by Kristina. This is the 3rd and last book in the Green Sisters trilogy. This is following the oldest sister Iris and R&B singer Angel, who was introduced in the first book, The Neighbor Favor. The second book that I have is The Kill Room by Jeffrey Deaver. I think this is like the 10th book in the series that I believe is ongoing. I realized I hadn't read one in a while. I actually don't know anyone who reads this series, but it is like crime fiction and I have an audiobook for this. And then from the library I have Finlay Donovan's newest book. I think it's Digs Her Own Grave, which just came out, so I would like to read those 3 for sure. Hopefully if that comes. It says it's in translate, but sometimes that takes over a week. The 2 books that I have on my shelf are these ones. So I never actually finished the duology for King of Scars, obviously. I just did not realize how chunky this was. Low-key, I might want to read the whole series because I feel like when I read King of Scars, I was a little bit confused because of how long it took me to pick that book up from the other series. But I did watch the show, not super recently, but I feel like that's also a good refresher-ish. But because this is so big, I also have Tana French's The Hunter. This is like real ballpoint pen signature. And I realized I didn't actually like The Searcher, so I'm hoping that I do like this. This is also another like thicker book. This is going to be following the same man, and it's like a small town crime solving one. He retires from the Chicago PD and moves to rural Ireland, so this is going to be following another case.
You have to do this like we did Sally Jesse, like cheaters.
Been sitting here and reading, and I'm on page 98, about to start chapter 7. I'm like really flying through this. I really enjoy Kristina Forrest's writing. It's just so easy. The prologue starts off with Angel and Iris meeting for the first time. They met in the first book in The Neighbor Favor 3 years prior at Vi's anti-wedding. This was before he became super famous. He instantly was super attracted to her, and Iris kind of brushed it off. She is grieving still the death of her husband, and she's raising their 6-year-old daughter. She hasn't really dated much. She's visiting her therapist. She definitely thinks that Angel's really cute. They meet 3 years later, and she's like, oh, he definitely doesn't remember me. But of course he does. As soon as he sees her again, he's definitely reminded of why he liked her in the first place. They are going to be working together closely. Iris is the director of partnerships at this beauty skincare brand, and Angel is their new ambassador. They are going to be going on tour together to promote the new skincare line. She's a little bit older. I think she's 3 or 4 years older. There's an obvious attraction, or at least Iris is a little bit hesitant because of her husband. She doesn't quite feel ready to jump into a relationship, especially thinking about her daughter in mind. She wants someone who has like a job, is very mature, will love her as well as her daughter. She just feels very guarded. Angel is feeling really stuck. He is now this big new artist, but he's creating an album, I believe, and the record label is not really vibing with any of the songs that he wants to create. He feels like he's in this creative rut, but he does end up creating this song about her, and she makes it clear to him that she wants to keep it professional because they're now working very closely together. They have not yet gone on the tour yet from where I am, although they are gearing up for it. Angel is kind of grappling with his relationship with his family slash religion. His family is deeply religious, and what's the word where you're kind of not anymore after being He's that. This is really great so far. It's really cute. The attraction's really adorable. I love the dynamic between the sisters as well. I think I see Lily being Yara Shahidi, and it just came to me, I think Vi is Yvonne Orji. That's who I see her as, just her sassiness in Insecure, at least her character. And I have an actress in mind for Iris. I can see her face, her perfect smile, and her short bob hair, which is how Iris is described perfectly, but I don't remember anything that she's been in order to be able to look her up and have a name. I finished a love lyric. I read 251 pages of this yesterday, and I really just ate it up. I'm giving this 4.25 because I did like The Neighbor Favor, which I gave 4 stars, but I think I like this a little bit more. I would say it's the love lyric, Iris's story, and then Lily's story, The Neighbor Favor, and then the other story, Vi's story. Oh my god, what's it called? I thought this was so sweet. I really someone said, oh, for The Neighbor Favor, a New York Times book review said it's like shipping Janine and Gregory from Abbott Elementary. I love that comparison. Oh, the partner plot, that's what it's called. I liked following Iris's journey of her like grief and figuring out dating again and wanting to protect her daughter. I also like love that her daughter Kala is also named after a flower, just like her sisters are. I think it's really sweet. Angel is like really soft. I think his family dynamic was terrible. I really hated his mom. She was really just berating him all the time because he wasn't going to church anymore and wasn't super religious anymore. She just would take his money, which I hated, because just because he was like giving money and helping for renovations and construction, all of that didn't mean that she loved him anymore, but she just really loved him because he was giving her all this money. Hated that for him, but I loved that Iris like really stood by him and stood up for him and appreciated him. Iris was finally able to like figure something out. She finally has someone who's really looking out for her, and I thought this was so sweet, so easy to read. I have another series to check off. Really happy about that, and I get to start a new book today. The book I will be starting today is The Kill Room by Jeffrey Deaver. Oh my gosh, this is book 10 in the Lincoln Rhyme series. If you don't know what this is about, it is following a former New York City police officer who is now a consultant, as he is now a quadriplegic, excuse me, and he was a very skilled police officer. He was just really great with forensics, so he's working as a forensic consultant. It's what he's able to do now. He is partnered personally with Amelia Sachs, who is a detective. She acts as his eyes. This did become a TV show. I didn't actually watch it. I don't know if that's continuing. I don't really like adaptations. A sniper shoots a US citizen who was targeted by the US government and assassinated abroad. It looks like they are going to be tracing the victim's steps in the city and looking for this assassin. So usually how the book goes, it's very like forensic heavy, and it also has some chapters in the point of view of the killer. That gets really creepy. Like I said, it is chunky. It's over 600 pages, but I think it's because it's like a mass market size. I usually am able to fly through these, and I haven't read one of these in a while. There's always the same characters that are involved, obviously the same police, like detectives. Sometimes there's an FBI agent that they work with as well. And I really like the snarky nurse, like caretaker of Lincoln. You definitely need it. Lincoln is this really bitter man. Not really sure how I see the relationship between him and Amelia. She's very tender with him, and he definitely needs someone like her to help him. Good morning. I slept so well. I'm up nice and early. I read 258 pages yesterday, and I'm gonna get ready to go to the gym. I've been listening to this on audio as well. This copy I realized really stinks. It smelled like old cigarette smoke. It like left my bookmark really stinky, so I have a H-Mart receipt in here instead. But I've been listening to the audiobook since having woken up, and I hope to read a lot of this today as well. I feel like I'm still only about 55% of the way through. So far, someone has died. He is like this American man who is anti-American and really hates like the capitalistic ways and how they destroy people. He has been assassinated. He's this US citizen, but they believe that the US government is the one who put out a hit on him, and they're trying to figure out who it is. They realize that there's this bigger team that's at play. They are trying to figure out this guy before more people die, and they really have to keep it on the down low because they feel like the government is actually involved. Listening to the audio of this, I have realized that Jeffrey Deaver writes a little bit in a mansplainy way. It does bother me a lot in the audiobook because I've read all of the books up to this point, up to the 10th book, and It's never really bothered me before. I felt like it was a little bit info dumpy, but because the narrator is a man and is telling it to me, it just feels really annoying. I think I might choose to not go the audiobook route anymore. These series are never really 5 stars. It's definitely not a 5-star read, but I just like being able to see how they're solving the crime, which is why I continue the series. I just wanted to go over some parts that make me think that this is super mansplaining, and it's just so info dumpy and unnecessarily this many pages. Yes, this is a mass market, but still, like, this does get published in like hardcover, so I feel like there's just stuff that the editor could really cut out. There's this whole chapter that begins with forensic analysis, and I feel like the reason why it becomes so info dumpy is because it's so like science forward. Like, it talks about who Calvin Goddard is, how he's this medical doctor and forensic scientist, and he's the grandfather of it, and it's just like that's the whole beginning of the chapter. 4 paragraphs of that, and I don't see why that's necessary. There's a whole paragraph talking about what type of sources of information the police could use to place suspects. It seems like it's literally comma after comma after comma. Easy pass transponders, credit cards, RFID chips and employee badges, subway metro cards, TSA records, and that's not even all of it. Why is that necessary? Okay, I believe you that there's a lot. There's like this whole thing about Lincoln Rhyme recalling his firearms training. Literally tells you all the rules of firearms training, and I'm like, I don't care. So yeah, I am babysitting for my cousin's daughter today. She's down for her nap. Good boy. Since she's napping, I've decided to read. I'm about 60%. What? That's a lot. 60 pages into The Hunter. Right off the bat, I will say that I would not be reading this had I not purchased it. And I read the first book, The Searcher, shortly after that, and thought it was really slow. I'm pretty sure I gave it 2 stars, which really sucked because I really enjoy Tana French as a crime author. Super underrated author, I think. I don't see a lot of people reading her. But this is a new series in the Cal Hooper. It's the 2nd book. It came out last year. I'm running out of battery. It's incredibly slow. I feel like it sort of matches the vibe because it's taking place in a really small town in Ireland, following a retired Chicago police officer now living in Ireland. Little things that go on in the town, so it's not like a really big mystery. But in this book, we're still following the same characters. Obviously, Cal, Trey, and Lena are important, and Trey's father is now back in the picture. From London, he brings back this English millionaire saying that there's gold that they can dig up in their town based off of like an old lore. It's another one of his schemes probably, and Trey is really mistrusting of her father naturally, really wants revenge, while Cal and Lena are trying to steer clear of all of that and kind of get stuck in the middle. So it's not super enticing. I really am not feeling it. Now that I know that that's the vibe, I feel like maybe it could be better. I read maybe like 70 pages when I was with my cousin's kid. I just didn't really have motivation to read yesterday. I wanted to tuck myself into bed a little bit early and make some dedicated time to read, and oh my gosh, I really am not enjoying this. I really tried, and I was like, okay, well, I'll try to read at least 100 pages, but I was already kind of getting to that point, like page 80, so I'm finishing off and I'm gonna DNF this book. Page 110, I read 5 chapters. It just feels really slow and so small town filled with all of these older retired people. It's just so much conversation about nothing. This really sucks, especially because I bought this new as a hardcover, like I said, signed copy. I don't know what happened to Tana French. I don't know why she's doing this series, but it's really boring. I read about 45% of this book and it's really fun. So it kind of picks off exactly where the last book ended. Finlay Donovan rolls the dice when they went to Atlantic City. Their neighbor, Mrs. Haggerty, has been arrested because a dead body was discovered in her backyard, but Mrs. Haggerty is cleared by the police and her home is an active crime scene, and she's determined to stay at Finlay's house across the street so that she could keep an eye on their neighborhood still. And Finlay and Vero really don't want to be involved in another murder case, but they're realizing the prime suspect of this case is now Stephen, Finlay's ex-husband. They're trying to solve this mystery first, and it low-key looks like the cops might be closing in on them. This is a cozy mystery, which I'm surprised that I'm like keeping up with this series and really enjoying, actually, because cozy mystery is not typically my thing. I think it's mostly because I really love Finlay and Vero. I really like their dynamic and the way that they're going about thought it's so much more realistic because it's coming off as like research for Finlay's books. Morning! Coda and I are up early today because we're going to go see a circus. I finished reading Finlay Donovan Digs Her Own Grave yesterday. I am giving this 4 stars. I thought it was really enjoyable. I feel like this series is sort of starting to pick up again. This was definitely a lot cozier and low-key like lower stakes than the other ones, just because there's no dead bodies this time that she has to deal with. I thought that the series would end here. Like, I wasn't really sure how the series would continue, but it definitely leaves you on a cliffhanger, leaving you wanting more. So I think I will be continuing with the series, and it's actually quite fun. This one done. I have been listening to the audiobook for Twisted Games by Huang. I'm like 70% of the way through. This book is the second book in the Twisted series. I know that it's like really popular smut, and I did not enjoy Twisted Love. I thought it was really like surface level. Same with this one. This is like straight up sex. This one is following Bridget and her bodyguard. She is the princess of whatever made up country, and Reese is her new bodyguard that is like really hate to love. There's an immediate attraction, but I feel like that's all that it is. Like I said, I'm 70% of the way through, and I'm not really like understanding the relationship. To me, it seems like it's just sex, but they're supposedly really falling for each other, but they can't. It's a forbidden romance because he's her bodyguard and she's a member of the royal family, and she has to marry another royal because her older brother has abdicated to marry another commoner. And that's like really admirable, and it's really cute, and it's like sort of Princess Diaries, but it's really not giving. It really just reads as like straight up smut, and the sex is really good, so that's why I'm enjoying it. I completed Twisted Games. I got my lashes done today. I'm giving this 2 stars as well. At first it was like doing better. I think I like just Bridget more as a person, or she is more memorable to me than Ava. Or actually no, the guys. What's his name? I definitely think I like Reese a little bit more, but there wasn't really a lot to like know about him. I didn't really see any sort of actual chemistry or romance between Bridget and Reese. It was just more very physical to me. But overall, because I gave Twisted Love and Twisted Games both 2 stars, I don't think this is a series that I will be continuing. I will be taking it off my list, so that's one more series checked off. So in my list here, I now only have 23 series that I'm in the middle of, which is great because I think when I started this, it was at like 35. I think I'll have to go through this again and see if there are some that I actually like want to continue reading or not, because it's been so long since I've read other books within the series. It does also suck because there are some books on here that I'm in the middle of, but I think I will need to actually reread the series from the beginning in order to refresh my memory. But overall, I think with that number being like 10 from when I originally started is really great. This is definitely working. I hope you enjoyed, and let me know what your thoughts are on the Twisted series because I know it's really popular. I will see you on my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.